Good evening. Good evening to each and every one of you. Welcome to Slow It Down Sunday. I am Arlene Connolly Drummond, your stride coach, and I am so happy that you have taken time for yourself. You have decided to join me in this habitual exercise that I am working on what it will take for us to slow down. And so, yes, today is Sunday, March 2nd. Can you believe it? We are in the second day of March. This is noted as Women History Month, and time is ticking and time is moving. So, I don't know about you, but the closeout of February was extremely hectic. And while it was rewarding, got a great deal of things accomplished, had the opportunity to pour in and uplift and empower and educate and extend knowledge and insight to others, I can tell you I was feeling it. Feeling drained, feeling exhausted. My sleep was definitely off, and in the time I'm having a conversation, and my husband and I are talking, and he said, "Arlene, how you doing?" And I said, "I feel I'm exhausted, and I feel like I'm running on fumes." And so that he says, "You're fuming," and just that idea of what it means. We say it sometimes, to be running on fumes. Can you really run on fumes? You wouldn't be running. You will be dragging, very sluggish, moving without energy and vibrancy that would allow you to show up in the various spaces of your life. And so I've been pondering that as I stepped into this conversation tonight to talk about energy management, right? How are we replenishing, restoring, reviving our energy? How are we protecting our energy? What are we doing on a daily basis to ensure that we position ourselves to have the energy to manage or to do the things or to show up in the spaces that align with our purpose, our potential, and our peace? And so I'm really inviting you all as I'm sitting here. I am definitely slowing it down today on a whole nother level. Relaxing on the couch, got my journal here, and I'm just inviting and happy for the opportunity for us to get together. You know, when we say we are slowing down, this is the space that we come on a Sunday, but we can do it any day. And I'm going to encourage you to do that, where we just pause. We take time for breath, for rest, for relaxation, for renewal, to replenish ourselves and recalibrate ourselves in preparation for the week ahead. So let's dive in to how we really look at this thing called energy management. Whenever we talk about energy, many times people are talking about our physical energy, but we all know that energy is an essential element. We need it, right? We need energy. We need energy to be productive, to accomplish tasks, to show up and be present, to get work done. If we are depleted with our energy, then we don't maximize our productivity. Our sense of clarity is compromised, and our spirit is usually very low, very drained. And so I wanted us to really dive in tonight and talk about energy management. How do we, as we step into this new week, how do I, as we step into this new week, really revisit how I'm managing my energy? What are some things that we could be doing to really assess our energy so that we are aware of how we're feeling? And so, first and foremost, I'm going to say we have to know ourselves. We have to know our bodies. We have to know our what foods may drain us or make us feel sluggish. We have to know, are we hydrating ourselves on a consistent basis? We have to know our bodies. Some of us operate fine when we only get 3 or 5 hours sleep, and others know if I didn't get my full 8 hours, how I'm showing up is going to be compromised. So first and foremost, we have to be so in tuned and aware about this temple, this body that carries us through life, right? And we have to be also, we all know this, consciously aware about what we put into this body, because what we put in, just like your car, and I'm sure you've heard this before, but can you imagine you have a car that's a high performance car? I would like to consider myself as a high performance person, a high performance individual, right? And I believe you are too. So as high performers, right, are we putting low grade fuel into our temple, or are we putting the highest grade, the high octane fuel into our temple? Things that allow our system and our engine to move at maximum capacity. Because I don't know if you've done it, but I can remember putting the grade gas into my car that was not what the manufacturers recommend. And I saw the difference in how my car was moving, and that just got me aware. And I just want to parallel that with our bodies, right? So how are we fueling ourselves for the journey? And how are we gauging when our fuel is running low? Because I can tell you, while this week I knew that I had a lot, this past week, I knew that I had a lot of commitments and meetings and trainings and different things that I was providing. And so this week I spent a great deal of time pouring out. And when we spend a lot of time pouring out, we also have to make sure we have a plan to pour back in. Okay? And so I want us to think about that. What are some of the ways you are pouring back into yourself? Because you've heard it, we can't pour from an empty cup. And when we are sluggish, our mood changes. And our mood impacts how we show up for the other people in our lives, right? It impacts our relationships. When I'm tired, I'm cranky. That's probably you too, right? When I'm feeling exhausted, there are things that I normally would do that I don't have the energy to do. So being mindful of where my fuel gauge is critically important. So I want you all to think about, as you're stepping into your new week, how do we do this? Make sure we have a habit. We have a way that we are gauging how we're feeling during the day. Just like you will know when you're thirsty, right? By the time we're feeling thirsty, our body is feeling dehydrated. We need water, right? And so really, we need to be so consciously aware of this temple, this what I call healing machine that is our bodies, and make sure we are giving it the right nutrients and nourishment, and we are hydrating this temple so that we have the energy in order to not just walk the race, run the race, but stride. And so how do we do that? So one, I said, we need to be aware of that body. We need to make sure we're putting in the right fuel, right? The right nourishment. We need to make sure we're providing ourselves the adequate amount of rest, right? And then the other thing we want to be able to do is really ensure that the actions, and I've said this to you before, the actions, the things that I'm involved in, the things I've said yes to, are they things that drain me, or are they things that fuel me? And you have to know that for yourself. And so the things that drain me, I want to find ways that I am delegating those things. Can I remove them from my agenda? Right? How can I handle, how can I better manage those things that may be depleting my energy? Some of you may say, Arlene, you're talking about my work. Nothing I could do about it. It is my work, and my work pulls a lot from me. It requires a lot of me. I have to show up and I have to operate at a high level. I have to be engaged. My mental capacity has to be on 10. I have to be fully alert. I have to be energized, and I got to be ready to go because I have to be on my A game when I'm doing my work. And it takes a lot of energy to do that. And so if we know that, right, and we can't delegate it, we can't give it away to anyone else, is there a way we can revisit how we're doing the work that is required? Are we scheduling out activities, projects, deadlines? Are we pacing ourselves in those lanes? Or are we finding ourselves adding additional stress because we're crunching at the 11th hour? Right? Because we have the opportunity in many cases to kind of structure our work. Yes, sometimes people put deadlines and timelines on us, but then we have to also be able to say, then how do I manage that? How do I process that? And I say this to my daughter all the time, that the attitude in which you approach a thing impacts the experience. And so my attitude, how I'm feeling about work, how I'm feeling about life, how am I feeling about friendships, how am I feeling about various relationships, how am I feeling about tasks and things that are on my list of my responsibilities. How am I feeling about them? Many times, if I am feeling that I'm operating from a place of obligation, as opposed to I am doing something that I find joy, I find enrichment, I find fulfillment, my attitude changes. And so we have to be able to gauge that. Am I doing things out of obligation? Or am I doing things because I find it fulfilling? When I prepare dinner, while there's a lot of people who I don't like cooking. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy feeding my family. So when I'm cooking and I'm preparing a meal, I'm in my joy place, right? So that's not a task, it's not a chore. It is something that I get great pleasure from doing, right? So even some days when I'm tired, I still rise to the occasion to do it because I get great joy in feeding my family and ensuring that they're getting a nourishing, delicious meal. So my attitude in which I'm approaching preparing a meal is a very upbeat and positive one. But if I saw it as a chore, my attitude, and I would be showing up differently, right? With a sluggish, very tense and negative energy that I would put towards that, which also is draining. So I want us to really think about, as you are slowing it down today and you are processing the week that you've had and the week that's ahead, thinking about how we can do life differently. That's what this is all about. How we can be operating with a greater level of intentionality in the things that we're doing. And this thing about energy management, it says that we have power and control around our energy, because we are the managers. We are the one who are in control. We are the one who are dictating what we do. We are the ones saying the yeses and the nos. We are the ones who set our schedules. We are the ones who take on projects and responsibilities, and we say yes to stuff. We're the ones. And so if we can be a lot more clear about our why, clear about our goals, our aspirations, clear about our core values and the things that matters most, and ensure that when we say yes, that we're in alignment with those things. As exhausted as I was over the past week, everything I said yes to is in alignment. It's in alignment with my purpose. It's in alignment with my goals. It's in alignment with my vision and my intention. And I was in my element. And so I felt good. But can I tell you, I still felt exhausted because it took time to prepare. It took time to adjust schedules and just show up and be the best version of myself, so that I gave those that I was seeking to impact and empower the best version of me. And so yeah, that could be draining, but draining in a good way for me, because while I felt tired, I also felt that I was on purpose. I was in purpose, and that made me get through all the things that I was doing with a great spirit and a great attitude. The thing that happened was, by the time the week was winding down, I felt that drain. And I felt that, yes, I was operating on fumes. So yes. So one of the things that I'm sharing with you all is that attitude that we put in and we attach to our energy and our actions makes a great impact. So think about how you are operating in your day, and how you're feeling about the things that you're doing, and how you can check yourself. Okay? If there's no one else in your circle who can check you, because I believe that is so important, to have people in your circle who can be honest and loving and caring, but let you know when you're not showing up as the best version of yourself, right? Because sometimes we are so consumed, we miss it. So it's so important to have good, strong relationships and people in your circle who can give you constructive feedback, right? To say, Arlene, you're taking on too much. Have you rested? Do you need time to pause? It's time for you to take a break. When last you took a vacation? All those little questions that we should be asking ourselves. So we need to be very vigilant and very alert about how we are feeling, so that we can better manage. So what I wanted to share with you in alignment with all of this is, I said, how do we do intentional pauses? Intentional pause, intentional days off, very deliberate vacation planning. How do we make sure that we are better being good managers of our energy, good managers of our time, good managers of our resources, right? So think about what we could do in a day to renew, to replenish our energy when we are feeling drained. So I started processing that, and I would share with you, in our day, there are lots of things we can do as we're going through our day to replenish our energy. We can make sure that we're taking intentional breaks. Intentional breaks where we are pausing to breathe. We are stepping out of our offices or our workspaces, and we're taking a walk. We're allowing ourselves to feel the sun. We may be writing in our journal. We may be listening to a brief motivational message or podcast or something. But find something that kind of gives you a jolt, give you a boost. Some of you may say, Arlene, you're talking about my cup of coffee or my tea or my energy drink or my smoothie. Whatever it is for you, make sure that you are giving yourself on a daily basis those things that kind of give you that energy boost, that replenishment as you're going through your day. And then when you're thinking of reflecting on your entire week, I like to think about how do we have a day where we, and if you, I would like to say it's a day where you just slow it down, truly have a rest day. So many of us, we don't have a rest day. We are on the grind. We are moving. We are doing so many things because our life is very demanding. But I really want to encourage us to do what we're doing now, which is slowing it down. We're doing this. It's 7 o'clock on a Sunday and we're slowing it down. But could you consider maybe doing a half a day where you are resting and you're replenishing, you are going for a walk, going to the beach, you are taking a midday siesta and having a nap, you are sitting down, journaling, reading a book. Find ways where you're just taking it down several notches. Rest is not a luxury. Rest is a requirement. Did you hear me? Rest is not a luxury. Rest is a requirement. When we slow down, we're not slowing down so that we can stop and be unproductive. Slowing down allows us to recalibrate, re-energize, refocus, redirect our energies, replenish ourselves, revive, restore. All the re's happen when we slow it down. My clarity, my ability to think, my ability to process happens when I slow down. Each and every one of you, this is such an important tool, an awareness for us on the power of what happens when we slow down. For some of us, you may say, Arlene, I don't want to slow down because slowing down means that I start thinking. And when I start thinking, I get very heavy. But can I tell you something? Not slowing down and not dealing with your feelings, your emotions, and finding a way to process that. One of my big ways I do that is I tell people, take all the stuff that's running around in this head and put it down on paper. This journal here, I put it down on paper as much as I can get off. And if it's not on paper, it's in my computer. Or I record it on my phone. I try to use my brain at its maximum capacity for the things that truly matter. And all the chatter and all the thoughts that's going on in my head, as much as I can, I try to put it down on paper. Because what that does for me is it allows me to see what am I thinking, what am I processing, what's happening inside my head. How do I connect the dots with my thoughts, right? So I'm encouraging you. If you don't have a journal, get a notebook, get something, but use the power of the pen and get your thoughts on paper. Clear the clutter, right? For those of you who are consumed by the chatter of the outside noise that's happening all around you, find ways to, have that shutting down of your social media. Have a time in your weekend or during the week where you're just shutting off the phone and being fully present with those that you love and care about. I'm watching people whether they're sitting at the dinner table and you've seen it, or they're walking together, or they're they're engaged with a whole nother conversation or interaction, and they're not present with the people who I would assume they love and care about. And we may miss so much valuable moments. And so I really encourage us to um, create some discipline around our technology. And I would even say for me, that is something I'm working on and I need to work on a little bit more. That I find ways to just not the devices, right? Not engaging with the outside, but finding time to just be. Be with my thoughts, be with my husband, be laughing, just spending time and creating memorable moments of joy. That is so important. As we are talking about energy management, if you don't know anything else, that laughter and joy and spending good quality time with people, that is an energy replenishment. That fuels you, right? You want to do that more. So I'm going to encourage you, find the things that fuel you, that replenishes your energy, and find opportunities to do that thing more, to invite it more into your space and into your life. And so we found some ways to replenish, right? And to renew and to revive ourselves. And then the other element I want you to consider is creating an energy budget. An energy budget. Have you heard that before? Having an energy budget? Sometimes I struggle with creating just my financial budget. Now you're telling me, Arlene, create an energy budget? I'm going to say yes. You know, when you think about creating a budget, it's being consciously aware of where you're allocating your time, your resources, and your peace. Because when you are managing your resources, you give your resources an assignment. You assign it, right? So imagine if we gave our energy an assignment and we determine where our energy is going. We are the ones directing our energy. We are putting our time, our talents, our treasure, our resources, our mind, our spirit into spaces and things that we decide. I am the manager of my energy. And as the manager of my energy, I'm going to be intentional about deciding how my energy is being used. So I want you all to consider, would you consider this? Creating an energy budget and determine how you're going to allocate your time over the next week. What are the things you're going to retain that's on your schedule? Are you going to do that assessment to see what are maybe the committees and the project and the stuff that you're involved in that you said yes to, but now it does not align with who you are and what you're thinking and how you want to live your life? Could we really do that assessment and determine and then reallocate how we're using our time? As we decide that slowing down is an important part of our quality of life and how we want to live, when we decide we want to live with a greater sense of intentionality, when we decide that our time is part of our treasure, something that we have to protect, and we are the protectors of that time. And we're going to determine where our time and our energy is used or spent. And we are going to be consciously aware of when our energy is draining, so that we do not get to the place where we are on fumes, but we can ensure that even when our system is half full, that we are giving it what it needs to be replenished, to be renewed, to revive. And we will manage our energy and ensure that we are not depleted, but that we are replenished, that we are restored, and we are operating at the highest level of ourselves. Can we consider that as you step into your new week today and you plan for the week ahead? Can you really consider making sure that you protect your energy? Can you do that? As you are planning for this new week, can you begin to practice that? Being an energy manager and deciding where your energy goes and flows. This is Arlene Conley Drummond, your Stride Coach, and I am so thankful that you took time this week to join me for Slow It Down Sundays. We are practicing what it means to slow down, and as we practice that, we are seeing the benefits of what it means when we take intentional moments and intentional breaks to take care of ourselves. Drop me a line, share this video with your friends and your family, and let us continue to build this community of intentional people that are committed to living life well. See you next Sunday on Slow It Down Sunday. Take care and have a phenomenal week of rest, renewal, and replenishment as you show up and be the best version of yourself. Take care.